Horizon Chance, and this is the Engoodening of No Man's Sky. Engoodening, that's a word. Never heard of that before. Yeah, so Engoodening of No Man's Sky. Internet historian will basically, break up, entire process of them making No Man's Sky all the way to all the controversy and how it turned out. It's an hour-long main channel video, which is just awesome. They did that Fallout 76 too, which I reacted. This one was left, so I'm like, what the hell, let's do this. I love they are tackling a controversial game topics like that, because it's always fun how internet historian describes it. I hope he does more things like that. So yeah, let's watch it.
By that game everyone loves.
Scientists are racing to unlock the secrets of the cosmos. Questions we once thought impossible to answer are within our grasp. Where does the sun go at night?
Is math related to science?
Egyptian love that one.
If the universe is so big, then why won't it fight me?
As we look further into the universe, we see light from distant stars, eons old, perhaps hundreds, even thousands of miles away. Hold on, can I get a zoom in on that?
You bet I can. This is one of the world's most powerful telescopes. Initiating 6 times zoom.
Can this baby do 7?
I can do you one better. Maneuvering to 8 times zoom.
Pressurizing, holding steady. I can see it. Unblur.
It won't hold.
Get me 8.5 times.
You're a madman.
Upscale it to 4K.
The helium tanks will go critical.
Opening the blinds. Hold her steady. Uncropping and increasing aspect ratio. Now, punch it. There it is. Life on another world. And to think, we owe it all to one indie development studio. Hello Games.
Oh god, that was so good. He created whole this setup, right? Entire setup just to make fun of this bug. I can just imagine, this is an indie game, right? This is an indie developer, and he's making fun of him like that. Imagine what he would do to Cyberpunk. CD Projekt Red, the hyped company, right? Who made Witcher 3 and all the DLCs. God knows what jokes he's gonna make. I'm sure he's gonna make a video on that. If not soon, then one day at least. Increasing pressure. What? Telescopes need pressure? Helium tanks, really?
Let's start at the beginning.
There you go. That's the biggest killer right there. The hype.
Yeah. It's rewind time.
Okay, the year is 2009. Guildford, England. There's a man named Sean Murray, and he's just founded a company called Hello Games.
Sean and the boys are working hard on a brand new IP called Joe Danger. 2010 AD. The game just came out. It's a success.
They're a small team, but they are ambitious.
Let's do something bigger, said Sean. Let's reach for the stars. How about Joe Danger 2? Brilliant! It's 2012. Joe Danger 2 has just come out.
Bet that one doesn't perform as well.
We need to do something even bigger than Joe Danger 2.
There you go.
Joe Danger 3? No. Even more out of this world.
There you go.
Something no man has done before.
Hint, hint.
Joe Danger the mobile game?
Yes! And that came out in 2014. Seriously, guys, biggest thing you can think of.
No, I'm just a stock image, dude. Why don't you think of something?
Alright, you know what? This whole thing is awesome because this just make me think that around this time there was no big market of, small time game developers as much as it is today, right? Games are getting spearheaded forward with all the new type of technologies, and not to mention mobile games, right? I mean, people who don't much play mobile games like me usually don't think about this. Mobile game developer, somebody made a game, this and that. You don't take that seriously. But, this video just tells you that small developers who make small indie game could have ambitious project, and if they are good, they can make something like that. No Man's Sky was disaster, but I'm pretty sure nowadays it's really finished product, right? They just really smoothed it out as far as I remember, and it's really great for people who like things like that, you know. And it is a big scale enough for the people who make something like Joe Danger or whatever he was saying. So all the small developers that we have today, right? Imagine one of them could be ambitious and good, that at least in a 5 or 10 years they could have some great game like Fallout or something coming out, and we'll be like, oh, that's good. Because let's be honest, CD Projekt Red started with Witcher, right? Before that, they were nothing, right? Witcher 1 graphics weren't that great. It was an acquired taste. People like me liked it, obviously. Witcher 2 was awesome. It was perfection, right? Even then, people have some issue, but it was just awesome as far as I remember. Witcher 3 was untouchable. And they became this CD Projekt Red, this giant, where everybody was hyped up about it. Everybody, celebrities and everybody, right? For the, new one, the Cyberpunk, basically. So some developer can basically come out like that in future. That's the best thing about this. Because, lots of companies are getting big and selling out and no longer makes great games, right? People are afraid about Tesla is going to be that like that. I don't think so, but yeah, it could be. But the point is, chances of new developer rising are really high.
Sean pondered for a moment, then turned and looked wistfully into the mirror. Reflected back was the visage of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
If you're going to make a space game, first person, it's never been done before. How about that? I'm going up in orbit to repair the Hubble telescope. So that's not a knife. Who are you going to have sex with? How much microwaves are coursing through your body now?
Oh, God.
The planet, said Murray.
This is the best thing ever, man. Every time I see Neil deGrasse Tyson and one of the things he says, I'm like, somebody edit this out. He will look like a real moron. The internet student just did that.
Space game, procedural generation, planet. Okay, that sounds good. Yes, we all agree. So they set to work, cobbled together a prototype, and by VGX 2013, they are ready to announce another new IP.
No Man's Sky.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Oh, this is special. Oh my gosh! This is special. Yes. No!
It's 2014, and it's E3 hype time. No Man's Sky has promised to be a game like no other. A practically boundless experience vibrant with life and color and things to explore. What's over there? You'll have to be the one to discover it. And then, wow, look at that big f***ing dinosaur, holy shit. And a moment later, we're in space, having a battle amongst a giant fleet. Claim a planet as your own. Explore the galaxy with your friends.
Basically, it was like, Minecraft, but in space. That's what people see it as. Like, this is a gigantic world that you can just go and go. There is an online game, Eve, right? Which has kind of like that, which has extremely so many planets that only one person took, 10 years to reach some planet or something. I don't know. There was some news like that. I don't play online games, but yeah. So if people basically thought it's going to be like that, right? Like space battles, discovering things, so much thing, everything procedurally generated. People thought this is going to be Minecraft, but in space. And, I like that concept as well. When I was playing Mass Effect, I always thought, what if somebody made this as, not like procedural generation, but what if gigantic, where multiple planets you can visit and all those planets have big-ass cities and things to explore, a gigantic game like Elder Scrolls or something. This came really close to that, but I don't know. Around the time what I was doing, I remember what I was doing, but I never get around to play that. Then I realized there was a disaster and I never touched it.
Okay, that's it. This is going to be the best game ever, you guys. It even won awards for its hype. And it will release in June 2016.
For releasing one award.
The hype train was officially loading up and ready to chug out of the station. At every stop of the journey, there would be press
God, he was on
talking
Colbert.
about the amazing scale of the game.
He went on Colbert, whatever. Damn, a game developer basically going to Stephen Colbert. This is just fucked up. If you do that, that's another level of hype train.
spread across 18 quintillion planets. It's so vast that by the time you finish exploring it all, I would have 2 new videos published. Sean himself was doing the interviews, because who is better to talk about the game than the lead guy himself? He went from interview to interview, and with each question, the answers he gave raised people's expectations of the game's scope.
Can you land on a comet?
Yeah, at the moment you can land on asteroids. You could encounter other players.
Can you grief other players?
A little bit.
They're literally building your own massively multiplayer world.
He sounds evasive with every answer. Like he knows that this is probably not going to be possible or something.
It's procedurally generated.
Sand planets like in June, rivers, walking sentinels, hacking. So sophisticated that light diffracts through the atoms, they had to redevelop the whole periodic table to make it work.
What?
Even Elon Musk was hyped for it.
Oh my god, that's just... Oh my god.
Table to make it work.
What?
Even
We'll try out No Man's Sky this weekend. Maybe reality is just a series of nested simulations. Ah, fucking hell. He just brought in simulation, argument in this one. Maybe we are all simulation. Not this easily, man. You need massive supercomputer to make something like that. Don't put that shit on No Man's Sky. The hype train was all ridiculous level, man. Elon Musk is joining too. Fuck it, why not?
Even Elon Musk was hyped for it.
2 years go by. It's early 2016, and that hype train is really moving now. Perhaps one of the biggest in video game history.
Serious.
Reddit was shoveling most of the gamer fuel. Skeptics and naysayers are treated as ballast and thrown from the carriage doors. Pre-orders open, and they are doing very well. The date is booked in. Some are even taking the day off work. So much hype there is that... Uh-oh. Jason Schreier of the soon-to-be defunct Kotaku is about to spoil the party. He announces a delay. From June 2016 to August.
Oh my god.
Liar, the incensed audience cries. Please be quiet, they said. And death threats too. But he was 100% right. A week later, the delay is officially announced. Ooh, sorry lads, we need more polish, said Sean in his usual accent.
Oh god, this is so similar to Cyberpunk. Seriously, man, death threats, I don't get that ever. First of all, the guy who basically said it's gonna be Jason Schreier, right? He's the guy who basically leaks the news like that. Not just about this, but lots of things. So he basically said it's gonna be delayed and people send death threats to him. I don't understand people. Let's just say, sometimes I can't even, only thing I can think these are just teenagers, right? I guess, 15 years, 16 years old or something, who doesn't understand shit. Because how can you be adult, right? And call yourself, adult basically. And at that point, you send death threats to somebody who's saying there's going to be delayed. I understand hype train, right? There are lots of things that I've been hyped about too. But I never even thought of sending death threats to anyone. This is game in the end, man. Chill out.
To that, Sean received some death threats too, by the way. Although he didn't take them as seriously or go to the police. Yet.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
But the impatient crowd relaxed a bit and said, fine, we will wait. But we expect a level of polish no man has ever seen.
Oh god, that feels similar to...
Speaking of waiting, Shadow Man here. Have you heard of Raidy Shady? My wife died in a plane crash. Hey, let's get serious for a moment. Raid isn't just a game with 15 million downloads in the last 6 months. It's a lifestyle. Think differently. Play Raid differently. Achieve your dreams. I'm sorry, sir. You've contracted Raids. That's good. Congratulations, it's Gorgorub of the Undead Horde.
My life for Nezu.
You just collected one of over 400 champions. Why, hello there. Have you heard about the online RPG PvP? It's extremely well reviewed on the Play Store. Oh, you remind me of my wife. Raid is more than just a game. It's a reassuring pat on the back from your dad. It's a warm bowl of soup on a cold night. It's one last dance at your wife's funeral. If you haven't played in the arena yet, I'm gonna break into your house. You're all getting Raid for Christmas, kids. Yay! And if you download now, kids, using the link in the description below, you can get an extra 50k silver and an epic champion. Wow, you're the best dad ever. Wait, Mum's dead?
Raid Shadow Legends.
Ad over.
Okay, did Raid people dumped Internet Historian? Because they always thought like doesn't matter what, his unique way of displaying ad is what makes people watch the ads in the first place. Because lots of people usually skip the ads, right? Sponsored ads in the video. But the way Internet Historian makes the ad, everybody watches it because how funny it is. But the point is probably the people from Raid wants kids and teenagers to buy Raid, right? The game. And this kind of a strong type of ad, I don't know, maybe, parents see it and say that you're never watching this or something like that, you're never playing this or something like that. I don't know, did it hurt Raid more, or the publicity was just good enough? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure in the early, the newer videos from Internet Historian, I don't see Raid ads ever.
So let's talk about the team in charge of all that polishing. It's small. Tiny. In fact, I haven't been able to find a smaller team behind a AAA release. All of these expectations are on the shoulders of just...
Maybe, let's be honest, Bethesda was the same way. Bethesda Game Studios. In Fallout 3, Oblivion, Morrowind, they were what, 10, 15, I don't remember, but something like that small number. So it's not that far-fetched to think that they could do it. But yeah, maybe the scale is way too big.
6 people, expanding to a team of 15 by the end of production.
Oh god.
July. It's just a couple of weeks until the release date. Whatever the state of the game by now, however much it's finished, that's what's going out. The Hello Games team celebrates with this iconic image.
The quintessential soy face.
They're exhausted. Look at what video game production does to a man.
God, what's wrong with your face?
Nonetheless, they continue, working on the day one patch, and... uh-oh. Sean, if your game isn't coming out for another 2 weeks, then why is there a box copy on eBay? That's right, it's a leak. Someone broke the embargo and is selling early access to the highest bidder. And the bids start rolling in. It reaches $1,300 US.
Oh, this
sold
is stupid.
to some guy with the Reddit handle Damien. He gets his hands on it and starts uploading footage to YouTube and daily.
Did he just paid $1,300 for this game? That is just ridiculous.
Motion.
What the frick?
Said Sean and Sony. Damien finished it a lot quicker than expected, but he gave it a decent review.
There are things I don't like, there are things I like, but at the end of the day, when I say to myself, what is this game supposed to be? This, what I'm looking at right here, this is what the game is supposed to be.
He noted a few problems, but said he was optimistic that they would be ironed out with the day one patch.
What is surprising though is why didn't Sony didn't suddenly go to his video page and just report it and just block the video, because they own it, right? I mean, even if it's review, I mean they could claim some shit and try to block it video, right? And top of all that, it's not released yet, so it's a stolen copy. Even though he paid, that doesn't change the fact. If you pay for stolen goods, it's still stolen. So I mean, I don't know, Sony couldn't claim something to YouTube like take it down, it's a stolen thing or something like that, I don't know.
Sean? It's another leak. Some retailers broke the official release date, journalists too, and they started streaming playthroughs of the game. What the fuck? Sony tried to DMCA all these videos, but their aim was terrible.
Round of applause,
There you
everyone.
go, they did do that.
We've officially become No Man's censored by Sony.
Our
They
news
did
story
do
from
that.
earlier this week about No Man's Sky leaks has been hit with a copyright strike on YouTube.
They went bumbling around from platform to platform, just taking down any video that even talked about the leak or showed the trailer footage. But it was too late. The footage had people talking more skeptically about the game. Especially because there were no early review copies.
That's bad.
And it was looking like the weight of all these expectations had become too much. And the whole thing was about to give. Oh no. It's August. Everyone's here. We've all bought the game and we're fucking hyped. Here we go, lads. Oh dear lord, it isn't finished. Hello, Sean. It is me, the auditor of games. I used to work at an astronomy lab. Don't worry about that. It seems like you've made a lot of promises. Promises that you have not kept. Let's go through the checklist. Have you got any large-scale joint?
Alright, first of all, here's the thing. This was just a disaster, but it's also people's fault too. Same thing with the Cyberpunk. Stop trying to get hyped up so much. Right? First of all, if you start to get hyped up, your expectation automatically rises whether you realize it or not. Even if something's good enough, you don't like it. Like, you know, Mass Effect Andromeda. People say it was a disaster, it was horrible. I played it, it was not horrible. If anything, the new mechanics and everything was fun. It wasn't like original Mass Effect, but it doesn't have to be. It's a spin-off, it's a different. In the same universe, different story. Game was fine. I know what people was bitching about. But people had this mentality like, oh, another Shepard. Right, another Mass Effect trilogy. So people's hype always kills the game. That's the most fucked up thing about it. And you know, people always rushes the developer, like release it now, release it now. Man, chill the fuck out. It will be released when it will be released. If you go to a mechanic when your car is damaged, and you just, you know, he just tells you, I'm gonna get this ready by tomorrow. You go tomorrow, and he's like, okay, it's not ready tomorrow. It's not ready right now. It will take 2 more days. What you gonna do? When you can't just take a half-ass ready car. You'll be like, when it will be ready, it will be ready. Now fuck off. This is like that, right? You want to play a game, we'll tell you when you can play. Shut the fuck up until then. And it's developers' fault too. Why hype it up so much? Why go to Stephen Colbert? Especially when you were just making some small-time indie games. And now you're, you know, tackling a big project. Chill out, man. It could backfire. You don't know.
Joinable space battles.
Nobody would want that.
Ringed planets.
No.
Fine. Well, at least let me play as a trader.
Some may call this junk. Me, I call them...
no.
Those sand planets from June look nice. Think I might... Please, Sean, there must be rivers.
No, it's not.
Animals interact with each other in the environment?
No.
Packs of walking sentinels, Sean.
No.
I'm literally crying right now. Should I even ask whether I can play as a space pirate?
Wait for it. Oh, he's coming. He's gonna tell us.
No.
Factions with different attributes.
You picked the wrong house, fool! Oh!
Fly between star systems manually.
But nobody's actually done it yet.
If I can maneuver like in the trailer, I'll still be happy.
No.
Well, day-night cycles determined by the orbit of the sun.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Land on an asteroid.
Exactly, day-night cycle. That's not a joke to do, man, inside the engine, right? So when this hit, they're like, okay, that's way ambitious. They're going to do that? Come on.
Chat and name your shit, hacking, portals, all that stuff about the elements, Sean.
No.
This is not good, Sean. This is very not good.
And ironically, the only bugs this game doesn't have are the butterflies in the demo.
Buried buildings, aggressive emojis, tractor beam malfunctions, animal husbandry, oil slick world, raining grass, retarded animals doing retarded things. Ship's interiors disappear, first person mode as a gun. That's not how flying works. That's my only means of transportation, leaving the planet. Take off.
What?
Really take off. Holes in
No. What is this?
First person mode as a gun. That's not how flying works. That's my...
Okay, so you're supposed to get to your ship, but your ship is just flown away. Is that it? Oh, God.
only means of transportation, leaving the planet. Take off. Really take off. Holes in the map. Holes in my graphics card. Whole lot of nothing from down here. Textures bugging out. Animals bugging out. Animals breakdancing. Look at these busy hands. Hello there. And a couple of unrequested ejector seats.
Okay, that's a lot of stuff. I get the picture.
Yeah.
No, wait. Poor graphics rendering. Some can't even start the game. Frame rate issues, constant crashes. Major publications are having trouble playing the game on their machines. Even the best 1080 Ti's are stuttering. Alt-tabbing? That's a guaranteed crash. Desktop
what? 1080 Ti was stuttering around this time. Holy shit. But what do you do with that? See, that's the worst thing about it. It's not that this game is bugged out. It's that fucking graphics card can't even play it. That's just fucked up, man. I hate that shit whenever it happens.
Notifications. That's a crash. Playing the game. That's a crash. Changing options in the game without restarting. You'll get this. And if you got the pre-order version with the bonus spaceship, you might have a problem. Your special ship already comes with a hyperdrive inside it. Great, right? No, because you have to craft it in order to finish the tutorial missions. And if you haven't finished the tutorial missions, you can't leave the star system. So whoops, until they patch it, you're stranded.
Oh, wait a minute. So if you order that bonus ship with a hyperdrive in it, now you can't build a hyperdrive because your ship already has one. So they got that part right. Like, let's not duplicate hyperdrives, right? Because ship already has one. They detect that, but they forgot to basically check if this is gonna collide with the main fucking mission. None of them thought like, how is it supposed to get out from there, I guess. I mean, imagine you pay more money than normal game and you are stuck while everybody who paid just normal money is just basically playing it fine.
That's why I give my kids No Man's Sky. The fool.
Ah, my ship's in bits! Okay, thank you.
Just a quick note about how high expectations were for this game and just how many people bought it on release, myself included. Over 750,000 purchases on Steam at launch. It's the single best-selling many people bought it on release, myself included. Over
top 25 games by estimated revenue. Okay. New owners. What? Look at how we beat Fallout 4, The Witcher 3. I know it's old games now, but still, damn man.
Million purchases.
That's a hype at a whole another level if you're beating those kind of games and if you're making top 10 list, just behind The Division.
On Steam at launch. It's the single best-selling game on the PlayStation Store that month. And the large proportion of people who bought it in the hopes of playing with their friends, well, you're in for a surprise. This one is a literal game changer.
Oh my god, yeah, they also said it's a multiplayer. Oh god, I see it now. I see what the issue is. When it comes to multiplayer, people, I can't wait to play this with my friend. That's why, you know, lots of online games are so famous now, Overwatch and shit like that. You know, I don't play online games, right? Multiplayer games, things like that. Because I never, you know, before I was just like single player, action RPG type of guy. And then later on, I just don't have time. So I never tackle any of that kind of thing, right? But I know it's such a big market that people thought, oh, No Man's Sky, Minecraft in space, and you can play with your friends and do all this shit. It's gonna be fun. And then you realize you can't do none of that, and that's it.
Is it even possible to meet up with your friends in No Man's Sky? The answer is absolutely yes, it's possible.
On multiple occasions, Sean said it was definitely in the game.
Will you be able to play with your friends?
Yeah. Can you run into other people, other players on the game? Yes.
But then just before the release, Sean posted this cryptic tweet.
To be super clear, No Man's Sky is not a multiplayer game. Please don't go in looking for that experience.
Oh, what? So there's no multiplayer function. But then the next line contradicts that.
Because the chances of two players ever crossing paths in a universe this big is pretty much zero.
He is playing, you know, very safely there. Like, this is not a multiplayer because two people can't find them. Ah, so it is a multiplayer, but you're just saying we can't find them. No, that's not what I'm saying, man. I'm saying two people can't find each other, so why even make it a multiplayer?
Oh, so it is multiplayer. You just have to overcome this finding each other hurdle.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
Right? No, it's more confusing than that. Because the box doesn't mention online play, just network features. And the collector's edition had its online play icon stickered over. So customers are going, which one is it, Sean? Just tell us if it...
Okay, what? You can stick it over like that?
Stickered over.
Oh,
so customers
God.
are going, which one is it, Sean? Just tell us if it has multiplayer or it doesn't have multiplayer. Sean wouldn't give any answers.
But after hundreds of thousands of purchases, people soon took it upon themselves to find out, despite the claims that it would be so improbable.
Chances of that are incredibly rare, just because of the size of what we're building.
On the very first day, two people noticed they were only 4 star systems from one another, and they met up on the same planet in a live stream. Oh dear.
A black pillow.
Our streams are exactly lined up. If you go look at my stream, we're looking at the exact same
Like, why are these two things? What is this? Is a bug?
area right now if you don't move.
Yep, that's the same spot. And they can't see each other.
I'm alone!
That settles it. It's not multiplayer because it's so big. It's not multiplayer because it's just not fucking multiplayer.
Yeah.
And this led to quite a revolt. What did Sean have to say about all this?
So amazing, two people found each other on the first.
I mean, seriously, I mean, when I really think about it right now, No Man's Sky doesn't have any story in it. It's just exploration and finding planets, and all the features he said is not that. If it was multiplayer, then it's fine, I guess. People like multiplayer and they will just have fun with their friends. Then again, you can play anything and have fun with your friends, but let's not think about that. You would have fun with that, right? But alone, you're just supposed to go planet after planet. I mean, wouldn't that get old so fast? It's like, you know, Euro Truck Simulator. It's an acquired taste, right? When you want to chill and just drive a truck in the game, it's fine. But in the end, you're just going one place another, delivering things over and over and over. It gets old really fast, man.
First day.
That has blown my mind.
So why can't we see other players in game?
Wow, so many of you playing.
Yeah, Sean, but what?
Truly amazing. My mind is blown.
So you know what? That's it. The 18-minute, I guess. I'm gonna do the next one, I guess, tomorrow. It's already 30 minutes long video. Yeah, I don't know. One thing I blame Sean about is about the multiplayer thing. He should have made it clear. I get it. He's new to this thing, right? And probably he was nervous, like, what level of blowback this is gonna get. How Sony is going to react to that, because Sony might not be so kind to him if shit goes wrong. Because Sony's not gonna say, we got you, man. No, you did this shit, and Sony might not be so good after that. So he has to think about a lot of political shit like that too. So maybe I can see why he didn't make it clear until the launch. But yeah, apart from that, I don't know. It's just, he was new, right? He didn't know, like, just chill out. This is why I love Bethesda Game Studios. Up until, I guess, 2019, before that, when they announced Fallout 76, they never hyped it up anything. They just revealed the game 4 months ago. Oh, here's the surprise trailer of Fallout 4, when it's coming, I guess, in 5 months. Immediately, like that, after working for 4 or 5 years. They didn't go to, I guess, big ass fucking like Stephen Colbert or something. They didn't hype it up because it's never good. I remember saying in some of the videos like Cyberpunk is gonna fail before it launched because of the level of hype it was getting. And I was afraid of that. I know it's CD Projekt Red, and Witcher 3 was one of the most polished thing I ever played. I know they polished it over time. It wasn't like that in the launch, but still, the level of unpolished version we had of Cyberpunk, that was not like Witcher. Witcher 3 had issues at the start, sure, but not at the level of Cyberpunk. And Cyberpunk was so ambitious, but then again, the game was not as big as people thought it would, right? The entire story arc, side missions, main game and everything. It finishes pretty fast before you learn the ropes, I guess. What the Night City is, what different factions, what I can do and can't do. This is the one thing I hate about RPG big games. Like, when you learn the ropes, then you must have at least half a game of content left to do something with it. As soon as you learn things, you acquire your guns and skills. Oh, look at the last mission is here. That's just shitty. Which is how I felt with, Cyberpunk. So, just hype train is never good.
So what's the game actually like then?
Is it any good? That is a difficult thing to say.
Well, it certainly is stylish and pretty, and there are a lot of places to explore. But that doesn't mean...
Pretty in a sense, I don't know. To me, only thing sometimes is pretty if it feels more realistic. The color, saturation, I won't call this realistic pretty. But yeah, it is looking good. It's better than, I guess, nothing. Right? There are games like Eve or something, like I said in the previous video. Online game that is kind of like this. too many planets in space and things like that. I can't play something like that unless it's single player offline game. I can't play it.
There's much to find. In fact, the game boils down to a very simple loop. Hold down the trigger to pick up resources, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. Hold down the trigger, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. Hold down the trigger, deal with a full inventory, leave the planet, go to another planet, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. That's it. $60, ladies and gentlemen.
Refuel your multi-tool, refuel your life support, refuel a separate part of your multi-tool that shoots bullets instead of the mining beam, refuel your launch thrusters. It's busy work that makes it look like you have something to do. It's not real.
How dare you?
What follows?
Yeah, I can't survive in that. Like I said, in previous video, Euro Truck Simulator, it feels like that. It's an acquired taste, right? I mean, when you're feeling fine, I guess, and you want to chill, I guess this is a good game to play because it's something to do, chores, right? I mean, this is what people are bitching about Skyrim. Like, it has lots of miscellaneous chore quests, which makes it look bigger. Which I disagree with. Even if you don't do chore quest, they have way too much thing to do in that. But yeah, I guess I can see the point. Like, unless something is interesting, just to do thing is feel weird. So I wouldn't like to play this game. I guess maybe sometime, but it has to be just the right time. I mean, how hard it is to somebody to just create certain type of mystery investigation type of thing, right? You find clues in every planet, and then you realize there's some mystery behind it, and you have to find all the pieces or something like that. Something engaging, right? Maybe it's easier said than done, but I don't know. They could have gone something with like that. I mean, there is a No Man's Sky Part 2 coming too. I hope they do something about that, like some kind of a quest, rather than just chores.
It was one of the most dramatic crashes in player numbers in gaming history. Sales in the UK fell by 81% in the second week. Concurrent players on Steam dropped from 212,000 in August to just over 2,000 by September, and fewer than
100 times less. That is a drop, ridiculous little drop. Like, people was seriously disappointed.
1,000 by October.
And what followed that was perhaps the biggest in gaming history. Reviewers on YouTube panned the game.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You done fucked it up!
I had no hype, and I can tell you that, even without that disappointment, this game is hot garbage.
Has anyone coined Sean Mourinho yet?
Numerous times within the first 2 hours of the game, I kept saying, this is it, fuck this shit.
Reviewers in the media were almost as harsh.
Devastating realization that most of the crafting, combat, and other activities you do on and between those planets ranges between bemusing and outright bad.
The criticism was deafening. And a lot of it really funny and creative. Krobycat made a video that captured the sentiment of that day, and if you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out.
So people are furious. The game is boring, and soon people discover that complaining about the game is actually more fun than playing it.
Wait, I'm now 3.5 hours into the tutorial pretty much.
So they started complaining about it like they were grinding for an achievement.
This sucks. Fucking Minecraft in space!
Many people made compilations of all the unfulfilled promises. One
look, about complaining thing, look, creators will do whatever works. So if complaining works, right, if it's getting views, they're going to keep doing that. That's the issue with, Mass Effect Andromeda as well, right? I'm keep bringing that up, but people automatically assume it's bad because there were lots of people on YouTube, creators, shitting on it. But you have to understand, if that works, that gets view, people are going to do that. Even if some of that is good, people are still going to shit on that, finding bad things, right? If it gets view. You should not judge a game based on that. You should really play it and see if it's good or not. Because to me, Mass Effect Andromeda was not that bad. I get it, the music was more like Dragon Age Inquisition than Mass Effect. There was something here and there, but as an overall game, it was awesome, right? I didn't go there, I didn't play that game thinking that it's going to be like original Mass Effect trilogy, and I had fun with it. I don't know. And nowadays, you find a newer review, like in 2021, in 2020, is Mass Effect Andromeda good? And you find like people are actually enjoying that. Because at the time, people just had this hype thing, like, oh, it's not like original trilogy, so it's just shit.
One guy on the subreddit compiled a big list of all the missing features. Front page. Got a defense for No Man's Sky? Enjoy your downvote. In fact, the entire No Man's Sky subreddit was in such disarray it had to be locked.
So by
That
the
is
end of the month,
understandable.
Metacritic was like scrolling through a
If
book.
you didn't live up to all the things that you said, and it is a disaster a certain way, even if you enjoy some part of things, obviously majority of people are going to shit on it. It's kind of understandable.
Of Cheerios. By October, it was one of the worst rated games on Steam,
Damn.
with an aggregate of mostly negative from more than 70,000 reviews. The outrage at the game was headline news for weeks on dozens of games news publications, and the price on eBay and Amazon and secondhand at GameStop was crashing through the floor.
$1.
Please, no more. But the beatings had only just begun. The demo planet was data mined and found to be, of course,
I think this was just amusing thing that people did, right? $1. Like, why would anybody sell for $1? $1 is nothing. Why not just keep the game even if you don't like it? Like, after a certain fall point, something is not just worth selling, right? Why would you sell something that you bought for $60 to $1, right? $10 at least I understand, but $1? I mean, that's just, people are just doing that to be amused, I guess. Look at that. We are selling the copy of No Man's Sky for $1. How much of a trash this is. People are just trolling at this point. Because if for $1, I would not sell it. I would rather keep it on a shelf or something.
Of course, totally scripted and not randomly generated at all.
I've just got to pick one of these at random. If anything horrible goes wrong, just keep in mind that I've not been here before.
It wasn't some level that we built or something like that, even though I think it looks quite nice in places.
People watching this would wonder why you're showing this area again. Like, what's so special about demoing the game on this planet?
Oh, no, it's just a place that looks nice.
No, Bad Murray.
I could have ended the demo with some, pre-scripted crazy thing that would happen. You know what I mean? The normal thing of like, and then a monster emerges from behind the mountains,
See, that's fucked up. He shouldn't have done that. That is just bad all around, right? First of all, obviously people saw that he lied. It's not procedurally generated thing, right? It's not as random as he makes out. And the way he said, it's not like a monster appears, and that's the thing he showed. That is just so bad, right? I'm not saying that, he did that deliberately. Maybe, at the time he felt like this is what I have to do to get the attention. Maybe Shoney pressured him, I don't know. Or maybe he just fucked up. But that is just bad. You can't blame for people getting pissed off on that, right? Because that's just point blank lying at that point. That's just bad, man.
People see what's going on with the game and feel lied to.
Yeah,
this is false advertising, they say, and angry customers start scoping out a lawsuit. On September 28th, the ASA busts through the door and goes, "Yep, too many complaints. We're going to investigate." But then soon after, the ASA cleared them of any legal wrongdoing. Technically, the only thing they're interested in is what's on the back of the box, what's on the store page, and what's on the Steam page. So it's technically not false advertising. But of course, technically not illegal doesn't mean much to an angry audience. October 28th, Hello Games Twitter.
Alright, I'm pausing this way too much, but I have to say it. People sometimes say, watch the full video, then say it, but I might forget, so I have to say it now. ASA, advertising people who checks things. That's what A stands for, advertising, right? And they basically just saw the back of the, the case and see that there is nothing false there, so it's fine. Now, you would expect me to, I guess, trash on that, but I'm not gonna, because policing is usually black and white, right? Did they broke any hardcore law? Like, did they lie behind the, the DVD case or whatever? Did they lie behind of that? No? Then in our book, it's fine. Anything more than that, go to court in front of a judge and argue, I guess. That's how it should be. Because people bitch a lot when, law gets too much into everybody's case, right? So, you don't want law to interpret things based on their judgment. Law is not supposed to make judgment like that. Court and judges are supposed to do that. So law usually have black and white thing, like which things should we check to see if they lied or not. Back of the case, fine. It's fine. In our book, it's all fine. Any more than that is, I guess, open to, the judgment and things like that, go to court. Like, he lied in some interview, we're not going to check that. That's up to the judge. It's understandable. So after that, just go to a court. Argue there, maybe.
Is hacked. The hacker posts, "No Man's Sky was a mistake," and is shitting on the game in the replies. Turns out Sean didn't use two-factor authentication on his LinkedIn, and that's how they got in.
No, 100% not hacked anymore. Obviously, those mails and that tweets fake back to. Oh my god, somebody hacked it.
They also sent discrediting emails to journalists, which they knew would rile people up if published.
No Man's Sky was a mistake. Our contact with silence from Hello Game has been unwarranted and unprofessional. The community asked me to speak up, confess and to beg. Oh god. Oh, this is just too much.
Some people even show up to their offices to take photos and knock on the door, even at night and on the weekend. They posted empty pictures of the office, so naturally out of context, this started rumors that Hello Games simply took the money and ran.
Damn.
This in addition to numerous bomb and death threats during that period. Those ones Sean did have to take seriously.
Regular intervention from police and Scotland Yard and things like that.
And while Sony didn't quite throw them under the bus, it was more like a gentle push under a minivan when Sony President Shohei Yoshida admitted that Hello Games did not have a great PR strategy for No Man's Sky. The press took the ball with that one and ran.
Dude, they were indie developers. They don't know how to deal with this shit. Sony should have, I guess, trained them a certain way. I know people will not agree with this view, like it's not Sony's job. But when you have some small developers who made a mobile game just before that, and before that it was like a mobile game, right? Small games, that usually most people don't play. And then they come up with this kind of ambitious plan where people like Elon Musk are getting in thinking, oh, I'm going to play that. That's the level of PR it has gone to. You should have intervened. Like, okay, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. We're going to teach you how to, I guess, publicize, how to manage your PR. Because they are the producer. Sony is the producer, right? It's their job to make sure the sales are about right. And PR should come under their, I guess, their authority or something. I don't know how else to say this. But, it's their job, because developers' job is to just make the game and, do the PR the way they are told to do. They should not be the one who handles how to do PR. It's the people who are actually, producing the stuff. It's their job. It's Sony's job. I don't know.
But despite all of this, all of the negative press, they were actually nominated for a couple of awards. But by this point, Murray and the other members of Hello Games were so downtrodden and so sure they weren't going to win that they opted to go elsewhere for dinner.
And the Innovation Award goes to No Man's Sky.
Oh, shit.
Oh, bro. This lovely trophy going once.
Whoops.
I'm going to accept this on the behalf of Hello Games, and congratulations to them. And now I'm going to walk off stage like I planned that whole thing.
By this point, you've got to feel just a little bit sorry for them.
Yeah, I've been feeling sorry for them from the start, right? I don't see malicious intent anywhere by their part. It's new to them, and they're making mistakes along the way. But yeah, I would have done the same thing in their place after all this kind of a shit PR that we get, right? After the players went from 200,000 to just 2,000 immediately like that. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, Innovation Award should go to them, right? Because this was an ambitious project. It failed, right? But it was an innovative project. So of course they're going to win that award. But they didn't thought they would. So they just walked out after all the negative thing they're getting. I don't blame them.
And then what followed that was the final straw for many. No particular incident, but a lack of incidents. Silence. Over 3 months of not a damn word from No Man's Sky. Okay. Where are they? Where is my refund? Where is Murray? Shouted into the void. The game was over. And it was dead.
He should have put that, Dave Chappelle joke. Everybody's asking for a refund, and he suddenly just came into his senses. People, listen to me. You will never get your fucking refund. Okay. Oh, another Will Smith.
The year is 2000 AD.
That's said 2000.
Sean has just graduated from university and is headed into the big wide world. he rises up the ranks at a number of studios, eventually working as a technical lead for Black and technical director for Burnout 3.
No shit!
When Burnout's developer is
Burnout 3 was good, man. I remember people playing the shit out of that.
bought by EA, he is in his late 20s. And he and 3 of his buddies decide to leave and start their own studio.
Smart man.
Hello Games.
Because let's be honest, if he didn't leave, EA would have cancelled them eventually anyway.
This was a risky venture.
So we'd done this incredibly foolish thing of like quitting our jobs, and then we had to sit down and try and decide what the game was going to be.
Together they create their first title, Joe Danger. They work on this game day and night. In fact, even once they were arrested in their own office because the police thought they were there to rob the place, because who would be working at 11 PM on a Sunday night? But they had to work that hard. Like any startup, it was a huge financial and professional risk.
Seriously.
They had no income. They were working in a tiny room above an old tile shop, living off savings. And to keep the project running, Sean even sold his house.
Oh.
So we made a really tough and probably at the time seemed really foolish decision.
At the time,
it's kind of almost
for any time that's a foolish decision. I'm glad it worked out for them. But you shouldn't do this shit, right? People see stories like this and feel encouraged. Like, I believe in myself. It's good to believe in yourself, but it's even better to have a safety net. Especially if you're batting and you have a family. It's not okay for you to endanger your family, right? If it's you alone, I guess it's all up to you. You want to screw yourself, okay, maybe. But if you don't have a safety net, right? If you just sell your house, quit your job and you don't have any income source and just bet everything on this, what if it fucking fails? I mean, people need to understand this simple thing. Even if it's something good, there are lots of different elements at play here. Anything can fail and your game would fail. It's not only up to your game is good or not, right? That's very simple type of view. That's not how world works. Even if you're so good and you make something so good, there are lots of different elements at play. It can easily fail, right? So people shouldn't do shit like this. It's really dangerous.
It's embarrassing for me to talk about. I sold my house and just basically went all in and funded what we were doing, which is not something I would recommend anyone else
seriously.
do.
But by June 8th, 2010, they had done it. The game was good. And they could breathe a sigh of relief because on the very first day it hit the PlayStation Store, they made their money back.
Nice.
2 years later, Joe Danger 2 was released. It was not the commercial success they had hoped for, and they didn't want to just keep pumping out sequels. That was a trap big players in the industry had fallen into. In his spare time, Sean
It's not a trap, man. Call of Duty makes more money to EA than anything else, right? I guess, yeah. At least it's up there. So it's not a trap, right? Developers does not spend nearly as much they make back. So EA is more than good and glad to make Call of Duty every single year if they can. They start to feel the pressure from the fans like EA is just duping us. EA is just refurbishing the game and just releasing every year. That's why they stopped doing that and now it's every 2 years or something. But it's making them good enough money every single time. So it's not a trap. If something is going to make way too much money to certain people, they will do that.
Working on a prototype for a procedurally generated game. They took another gamble and scrambled to get a trailer out in time to present at VGX 2013. So the project is official now, and the pressure is on. Around this time, Sean is also looking to start a family. Concurrent to all this development,
That's disturbing.
He would go on to have 3 kids. So the weight of responsibility is really piling on. But their hard work will pay off, as they're finally going to have a chance for some R&R around Christmas.
They woke up to find their homes flooded, their cars submerged, and their plans for Christmas Day very much ruined.
Bad news. Rain. Rain and flooding in the south of England, right around the Hello Games office. They are completely inundated and they return from their holidays to find laptops floating around at waist height.
Damn.
But some good news, they hadn't lost any data. So they pull together, Soldier on. Development continues. So there they are, working in a damp office, and then ding dong. Ooh, who's at the door? It's Danish mathematician Dr. Johan Gerlis. He's seen the game, and he says, "They are using my super formula," in perfect English, and there is a potential for a lawsuit. Sean says they didn't, and he can prove it. So they have a meeting, and the claim is eventually dropped. Lawsuit evaded. So back to work, guys. Ding dong.
God, I hate this, right? Leeches always comes out. Oh, it's my copyright thing. Yeah, you're using my copyright data and this and that. I'm not saying that there can't be truth in that, right? But people just smell a whiff of something could be potentially copyright worthy, and they just run to it, right? I mean, there was what was the survey that out of 1,000 law cases, 800 or so are fraudulent one, right? People just claim shit, and obviously fighting the case in court is so costly. People usually settle. It's called I don't know trolls or something. I don't know, lawsuit trolls or something. I mean, it's just fucked up. They are a new developer. Happening something like this to Bethesda or something is understandable. They have money. They can deal with this shit. But new developers like that is just fucked up.
It's Sky Television. They've seen the game.
You were infringing on our Sky trademark.
Are you
They
kidding
said
me?
in perfect text-to-speech. They had succeeded in getting Microsoft to change SkyDrive to OneDrive, and they were about to give gamers No Man's 1 under threat of...
How does they own the word sky? Sky is sky. You look up and that's a fucking sky. How they can own trademark on that?
Lawsuit. But this lawsuit didn't just go away. The threat loomed over them for the next 3 years, right up until the month before release. So they get back to work and ding dong. It's Sony with some good news for once. We like a game, kid. We want to feature it front and center and make you a big star. This could mean millions of dollars in additional revenue. They said, yeah. But along with it, a lot of press for this game would need to be done. Being a small team, they didn't have anyone for PR. They had their designers, they had their developers, and that was about it. So it's up to Murray. Sean
Murray and Sony should have just talked it out. Like, I have a pretty small team. I don't have anybody with PR, right? Sony and I both are gonna profit from this. Do you have somebody that could help me out with this? I mean, it's not hard to ask. I don't know. Sony should have seen this.
He's in his early 30s now. Not super young, but relatively young and inexperienced for this type of media circuit. This deal with Sony put extra pressure on them. It set deadlines. It's not that it's Sony's fault, but they're locked in now with much less flexibility. So when May rolls around and they have no option but to delay, even if they wanted to ask for an extra 6 to 12 months of development, which they really need, it's probably too much to ask for. So they extend from late June to August. Only 6 weeks. From here, you can predict what's going to happen to multiplayer and a bunch of other promised features. So here's how the hype happened. Scope of game, time. And here's the line which shows the reality of development. Progress is steady and ends in August 2016. Now here is the line of player expectations. It should start out here and follow along the purple, but the overhyping trailer comes out and puts us way up here.
This is special.
In this trailer, it features a bunch of things that Hello Games thinks they're capable of having in the game by 2016. That's the first big mistake. Then it's announced for PlayStation and it costs $60 and there's a collector's edition.
Ooh.
Second, even bigger mistake. That puts us all the way up here. And I think this is the main...
Yeah, that is the $60 and collector edition seems like a big giant AAA game, right? Like they probably have 500 developers. They can deliver, right? They'll work it out. It's $60. That's all people are going to see.
Problem. Because price tags set expectations.
Yeah.
For a $60 game, this was seriously barren and disappointing. Now, if they had put it out for $20 as an indie game or an alpha, no problem.
Yeah.
But when they gave it the AAA treatment,
$60,
people rightfully aligned their expectations with other games in that category. That is the main reason customers' expectations were so skewed. Then Murray went to interviews, exacerbating the problem. Every time he mentioned a feature in the game, even in passing, fans set their expectations to AAA heights for that feature. Now, Some people think the interviews are the main problem. In my humble opinion, not so much.
Not the main problem, but this, Stephen Colbert, this was too much. Stephen Colbert is the biggest late show there is, and if a developer goes and talks about a game, that's gonna put that thing on the map, right? Like, holy shit.
Most people never saw these interviews. It's not that rickety 12-foot ladder Sean's standing on that's the main problem. It's the 900-foot building he's perched it on in the first place. So the obvious solution here would be an official statement. Hey guys, look, don't expect a 10 out of 10. Expect more of a 5 out of 10. No, the publisher just sank an enormous investment of marketing and opportunity into the game.
What's wrong with you?
And that would be a huge middle finger to them. The publisher isn't going to make you hype the shit out of your game, but you can't talk it down either. So, he's kind of stuck up there. In some ways, during the interview, he tries to temper expectations, but it's limited.
Can you build a space station?
No.
The face said it, no. Don't start this shit, no.
But let's not gloss over the interviews. Sean is a technical guy. He's a developer. He's also the introverted type. And the big lights and the stuff on camera does not come naturally to him.
Is it super nerve-wracking to talk on stage at E3?
Yes. Yes, definitely. I personally find going on stage at E3 like the hardest thing I've ever done. That's something that I would have had in a nightmare before. You know what I mean? It's
literally the hardest thing you've ever done?
Yeah.
Still, he stepped up and took interviews for his game from 2013 to 2016. And the main thing people wanted to hear about were the features.
Can you have more than...
So every planet, will there be wormholes?
Right. At what point...
Do you get points or anything?
From these interviews, people took Sean to be a liar, a Peter Molyneux or a chess club member out to sell his game at whatever reputational cost. But I think the truth is more complicated than that. Sean and the team are indie developers working on a new IP. Their project and plans are constantly in flux. They have no idea how large chunks of the game are going to look, especially not a couple of years out from release. And crucially, Sean doesn't understand that something mentioned in 2013, even said in passing, is going to be seen as a promise in the year 2016, even if by then you've decided to cut it from the game.
Yeah, let's be honest, guy had balls, right? He's a technical guy, he's not experienced in this, but he's still soldiering on. Guy had balls. And he probably, nobody told him to not to do this shit. This is why, I bring up Bethesda Game Studios. Because after Fallout 4, their studio became big. But before that, there were just few of them. Like, I don't know, 10, 50 or something like that. 10, I think it was 10 or 20 developers when they were working on Morrowind and Oblivion. And I think they developed this kind of a thing, like never mention a game until it's literally finished. That's why they, reveal the game in June in E3 and then release it in that November in just 4 or 5 months, right? I mean, that's what, Sean should have done at that point, right? I think that's what he should do from now on. Because if you're a small developer, you don't know where the game is going, right? I mean, you don't know your limitations. So you shouldn't mention things unless you know if you can do it or not.
For example, orbiting around the sun.
Day has turned it out because the planet has actually rotated on its axis.
This originally was in the game, but it caused the player too much confusion. It kept being reported as a bug in the beta, as people left the planet and then returned to find everything different. But nonetheless, into the live compilation it goes. So while
oh god, so they did do it, but people are so fucking stupid. Like, it's a rotating planet, of course it's not value. This is what people think. One day I might, develop a time machine. But yeah, you also have to put time and rotation. Because when you teleport, you realize that you're in space because fucking entire planet and the solar system moves. So people were too stupid to realize the planet is rotating. So of course I'm not where I was and I can't rotate, I can't navigate it. So that's why they removed it.
They're still essentially formulating the game. The media all want a piece of Sean and to report on features first. Conversely, Sean thinks the reporters might help him to temper down things by emphasizing that Hello Games is an indie studio. But that is not how journalism is done. This is how journalism is done.
Can you customize the look of your character?
Sort of.
Full customization confirmed in No Man's Sky. periodic table to create atmospheric particles that would diffract light at just the right wavelength.
Told you! The press kind of operates downstream from the community because things are click-driven as to what stories you get served and things like that. But a rumor would surface from Reddit straight to the front page.
There's all this hype, and the project has increased in scope dramatically and keeps increasing as the months go by until a point. They are close to the deadline and have to delay, and the reality of what they can achieve in the little time remaining is staring them in the face. They know they're not going to be putting out a finished game. They're worried. There's nothing more they can do. And the fear that they will disappoint the audience is growing on Sean and the team.
I worry about, disappointing people.
Upon release, all of these clips are seen as proof that Sean is a liar. And what doesn't help is his body language. I mean, it's kind of the body language of someone who is lying. And this is why I mentioned he's an introvert. Remember, he's a technical lead. Actually, a really good one. But not a salesman. Cut him just a little bit of slack, because this is simply how he talks.
Yeah, I said that in the previous video, right? I mean, when he was mentioning something, his body language, he know he was lying. But it's because of his introvert. That's why his body language is like that, huh? I mean, damn. So people automatically assume that he's lying because of his body language, but it's a, it's a thing he has. Right? I mean, he can't help that. But seriously, the balls on this guy, knowing that he's like that, right? His body language is like that. He's not so great at PR and things. He's a technical guy. But since everything was on the line, he went everywhere. Stephen Colbert, E3, and everywhere. That's commendable, because I don't know if I can do that with having all that, being an introvert and everything. I would have tried to find some guy who can do that for me, but he just soldiers on. That's commendable, man.
Here are some innocuous questions, and he answers them honestly.
Lead producers on No Man's Sky?
Yeah, I guess I'm a developer on it. I suppose.
Look at
that. Creator or something like that. No, I really like making games. I don't necessarily love talking about making games.
I think you did a good job,
even though you guys are very nice.
Mate, seriously.
Same body language. And Jesus Christ, they have him up on stage and in front of cameras and bright lights and on the goddamn Colbert Report. Try keeping your nerve on that. Nonetheless, free of that context, the clips have him cemented in the community as a liar.
Seriously, man. Okay, you know what? I have to stop here because the video's gone for 36 minutes now. But seriously, man, the guy had this kind of a body language because he's an introvert that it's just automatically people assume he's lying. Even I said that in the previous part that I made yesterday, right? Like he kind of knows this is not true and that's why he's acting like that. But I didn't know that he's an introvert and he can't help it. Damn, that is, seriously, in front of all these cameras, center of attention, Elon Musk is basically mentioning him. He went to Stephen Colbert at this level, being like that. I can't do that, man. If I were him, I wouldn't be able to do that. That's something. Man, I like Internet Historian, right? He's putting the spotlight where it matters. Internet Historian usually make fun of things, right? That's where his channel works. He did do that at the start just to show that side of the story. But then he flipped, right? And he saw the other side of the story, which is actually true. Like where things are going. And he's being kind to Sean Murray. Which is kind of good, man, because everybody was shitting on him. Internet Historian was showing the true side of this. I like that.
So the graph plays out right to release. And that graph, it's actually a track. And that track is what the hype train runs on. So it comes barreling up the hill. Instead of neatly pulling into the station, it comes crashing right through the roof. The disaster unfolds. They are absolutely shit on. So there were Sean and Hello Games, surrounded by the rubble of their former reputation. Punished Sean was at his lowest point, hated by the majority of the gaming community. But they were still alive, and they had made tens of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah,
they were left with two choices. Take the money, start a new project, and be a pariah, a cautionary tale of the industry and hated by the gaming community forever. Or
this is what happens.
Pick themselves up, get back to work, and with potentially no profit motive, finish the game.
It allowed me to do something that I've always done in difficult times, whether it was crappy bosses that I've dealt with before or crappy situations at school growing up. I got my head down, I sat in front of a computer, and I made games, which is what I enjoy.
They picked number 2. So,
yeah, I mean, the guy basically quit EA, because let's be honest, EA is dead. Let's just make me Joe Danger 3 and make sure there's a microtransaction. So he's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna go on my own way. That clearly shows you that obviously he cares about making games, right? He went from Joe Danger to No Man's Sky, this kind of ambitious project, right? He put everything, his house, his money, everything on the line for the team, basically. He clearly cares about developing games, right? Nobody's gonna argue with that. So it's not surprising he went with option 2. I mean, today you won't be surprised to hear lots of people go with option 1, like, fuck it, we fucked up, I guess next one, I guess we'll be more careful, let's take the money and move on. He didn't do that. That's respectable, and I guess that's better, because this will build his reputation, right? This will build his whole thing, and this will also strengthen the franchise of No Man's Sky going forward. So I guess this is definitely a better option.
Here's the plan. The team is assigned to fixing bugs and the most obvious problems. Go. Sean tells the team to stop reading all the overwhelmingly negative feedback on the game, and he reroutes all of it to his personal devices. Emails, forum posts, Google News alerts, player feedback, it's all going directly to him now. Then he starts breaking that down into data sets. People who haven't bought the game, people who have bought it and played it for 100 hours, people who have returned it, etc. Then he starts compiling those complaints into usable data, focusing on the people with the most sincere experience of the game. Then we start making a big laundry list of all the things that
he micromanaged the shit out of this one.
Need adding and prioritizing. First thing to fix is that full inventory. Then community mod support. Then a third thing, etc, etc. This is going to take an enormous amount of work to pull off, and they're not...
Mod support is pretty crucial, because let's be honest, coming from Bethesda Game Studio fan, it is pretty crucial. Because let's be honest, Bethesda Game Studio's games are not really polished, right? I mean, that's the most sincerest way I can say that. It's not the most polished game out there. But mods basically makes that perfection, right? Modders always comes out and creates this kind of a bug patches and everything that just makes the game better. So, you know, first creating mod support is pretty crucial, because before even you get to things, probably modders will get to it, and it just makes your game better, I guess.
Going to make the same mistake twice. So they would need to sharply adjust their PR strategy. Anything they said right now, an admission of guilt,
I've made a severe,
would be met with criticism. Denial, it's not that bad, would be met with criticism.
Yeah.
Corporate speak, well, we endeavored to make the best game we could and we are proud of what we have, would be met with criticism.
That PR thing is what Todd Howard did with Fallout 76, right? They came out after a long time, he and that producer of him, I forgot his name, the 2-3 people in front of it, and it's just like, I'm proud of what we have. We have over 1 million or something, like players or so, this and that, and people like, oh bullshit, this and that. People literally reacted like that.
Problems have been caused by speaking too much, so they were going to do a complete 180. Instead of adding more fuel to the fire, instead of accidentally promising fixes that might also not be delivered, they wouldn't speak to the press again.
Female traits you're talking about, I'd say that's a generalization, but you've used it.
They were going to speak to the community directly from now on. So they told the audience they were working on it and went completely silent. 1 day passed. No word. 2 days. A week. Have you heard from Hello Games? They just had this disastrous release. Nope, haven't seen them. I hope they're working on the game. 2 weeks. Dude, are you working on this thing? Just ignore them. Just
nice.
Work. 3
I
weeks.
like this.
Okay, what the fuck is going on?
WTF, it's locked.
A month. They took the fucking money and ran, didn't they? Don't say anything, it's not going to help. 2 months. 3 months. By now, most people were convinced that the game was abandoned. They had made their money. It's all over. Then
I don't know what being introvert means, right? What kind of difficulties you have about what things, but clearly he had difficulty talking in front of people, right? How to say, and just he had difficulty in that sense. You know, that person being so calm and collected and gathering his team and I guess going more professional way, like, okay, fuck this. Don't even look at social media. We are fixing this shit before saying anything. That is so commendable, right? Even with somebody who's not introvert, even somebody who has no difficulty with anything, no speaking difficulty, no difficulty in front of crowd, this would be a hard thing for them because let's be honest, these are small developers trying to make an ambitious project. Around this time, they are not used to large scale criticism, and it would get to people, right? People easily develop depression just based on the feedback. So it is really surprising him pulling himself. Then again, he sold his house for his, the team when he started, right? And all the things he has done, obviously he has courage. Obviously he has balls. So it's not that surprising to think about it.
Then, after over 100 days of absolute silence, a tweet. Foundation. The first big patch.
It is me, Sean. No, go away, Sean. I am mad at you. It has been too long. But I bring you gifts.
His accent sucks. It brought base building, new game modes,
what is it doing?
Farming, camps, and freighters, as well as a lot of bug fixes.
You will have to try harder than that, Sean, to win my love back.
It still fell well shy of the promised game. Too little, too late. So Sean left, returned to his team, and got back to work. A few more months went by, and then another tweet. Pathfinder.
What do we have here?
What the fuck?
Oh, it's you, Sean.
I bring you online base sharing, own multiple starships, starship specialization, multi-tool specialization and classes, permadeath modes, vehicles you can drive around in, and create racetracks for them too with time trials.
Nice.
Look at this.
Okay, that's pretty good, but I'm still mad, and there's still a ton promised that isn't in the game yet.
So Sean went away once more. A few more months went by. Knock, knock.
Oh, it's you, Sean. What is it now?
I bring you an overhaul to the storyline. New worlds, crashed freighters, space combat, terrain editing, portals, procedural mission system, interstellar trading, and joint exploration. By now, people were really starting to warm to No Man's Sky again, and to Hello Games.
The game has in many ways exceeded what was promised.
It's a substantially better game now.
Yeah, I mean, damn. He just literally turned this game around with just 3 or 4 patches. I mean, he brought back everything, even the things that people don't even expect it, like cars and shit, owning multiple ships, right? Racing and things that you can do apparently. Now you can have space battles, trading, questline is kind of better.
No Man's Sky is back, baby!
People saw this was an honest effort to fix the game, and the number of employees working on it was growing, from a studio of 15 to 25. Sean Murray and Hello Games social media also started becoming more active and engaging with the audience. The subreddit was flourishing once more. The price of the game secondhand on Amazon, eBay, and GameStop was going up. Then a few more months went by.
Right there.
Next, a really big patch.
Oh my god. Holy shit, the planet! I just got goosebumps. Oh.
To be super clear, No Man's Sky is not fuck that. Here's the full and proper multiplayer experience. Ringed planets, third-person mode, character customization, a galactic atlas on an external website for the community, vast overhauls to base building and crafting and resources, and it also brought the game to Xbox. In fact, with the release of Next in July 2018, No Man's Sky was the 6th top-selling console game for the month. It climbed its way back into Steam's top 10. It reached nearly 100,000 concurrent players. It brought another $24 million across all platforms. Their Steam rating went from mixed to very positive. People were getting back on board in a big way. But they weren't done yet. Better creatures, weird underwater shit, discoveries in bases and environments and equipment, and it keeps going. New biomes, more diversity, archaeology, more things to discover. By now, Sean and the gaming inspector, personification of the gaming community, had literally patched things up and were making out on the couch. Which was when he released his biggest patch to date of this video.
Oh my god, it's huge!
Free VR support, not a whole other game you have to pay for, like some titles. Overhauls to NPCs, tech trees, base building, streamlined multiplayer, ride animals around. All sorts of stuff that was never promised in the first place. And they're still adding more stuff.
Someone at Valve, who was a fan of the game, said to me, what you do now is more important than what you say. There's only one thing that's credible, and that's your actions.
In fact, I was so slow to get this video out that they put out another patch the other day, with ship salvaging, ship up.
Man, he just went ballistic here, right? Oh yeah, you want something good, I'll give you something good. I'm gonna give you everything you wanted and more. And he just went on patch after patch. I mean, you know, by this time, after all this kind of death threats and all kind of threatening, you think that they would, at best, right, at the best case scenario, they would deliver what they promised and move on. But no, they're still adding shit. They're building a fucking community. Like how, you know, Bethesda Game Studio has that kind of community, right? Because of Fallout 3, Oblivion, Morrowind, they have this kind of a following that doesn't matter what. They will always follow Bethesda Game Studio, doesn't matter what. Even with something like Fallout 76, there were lots of people who were still hopeful and positive about the studio because of their past actions. The building of community matters, and I guess the community of No Man's Sky might hang around for a long time, right? No Man's Sky 2 is pretty sure I'm coming in future, right? I'm pretty sure I saw a trailer somewhere. So I guess, you know, what he did here was extremely smart for the future.
Upgrading, more advanced terrain editing, first-person exocrafts, improved VR, improved base building and inventory management, and quality of life stuff. It goes on. Is it perfect? Technically, there are still things on this spreadsheet missing. But come on now, we're starting to nitpick.
Yeah.
Especially when you compare them to relationships with other games companies. They could have gone the route of Fallout 76. Paywall mods with Fallout First.
Oh god.
Charging a monthly fee, a downward.
Oh god, there's Fallout First, oh my god.
76. Paywall.
And around the time, which is not the best time to do this, right? When Fallout First came, it was one of the worst time to bring that out. I guess after, you know, if they came out after a few months when they start to add more add-on DLCs, right? Maybe it's understandable, but they came out with this before. This is ridiculous. 1,650 atoms per month. I mean, how fucked up this is. I don't want to talk about this Fallout 76 because there's, you know, another video from the Internet Storm which I already did. I did this so long ago, I don't know if my reaction was good or anything because it's an old video. But seriously, Fallout 76, right? When they released Fallout 76 just a few months ago, they were bashing on, I don't know, was it EA or something? They were bashing on, I think it was EA, right? It was BioWare's game, I guess, that online game, which kind of sucked. So they were bashing on that with that, you know, single player or whatever that trailer they made, right? I don't even remember what the trailer's title was. With, you know, with her, what's her name? Linda, her. So, you know, they actually made the trailer like, technically we are always going to be single player and faithful to the community or whatever shit like that, right? There was some kind of trailer, I forgot the name. But few months after, they came up with Fallout 76. How can you have that kind of a 180? I mean, I'm not saying that they are wrong to tackle Fallout 76 and the multiplayer thing, but don't release that fucking trailer if you're going to do this. This is hypocritical at a whole another level. I mean, damn. This right here, #SavePlayer1 by Bethesda Softworks, right? I forgot her name, whatever. But, you know, this is basically, you know, save the single player because there was some controversy at the time. This was from, what, December 8, 2017? After this, they made Fallout 76. They were already making Fallout 76. They didn't make it after this. But balls on them to release this trailer knowing that they're going to release Fallout 76 one day. That's just fucked up.
Mods with Fallout First, charging a monthly fee, a downward spiral more and more into pay-to-win scraps released without QA testing. But instead, they never added pay-to-win. They never added microtransactions or paid DLC. They never made VR as a second game. They didn't give up on the game or scale their resources back to do it. They didn't come out and call all gamers entitled. They didn't add loot boxes. They didn't start work on the next big project or sequel. They didn't do much of anything except get
Ark Survival Evolved developer response to fans angry about Scorched Earth expansion. Okay.
Work on the next big project or sequel. They didn't do much of anything except get back to work. And just like that, the game once panned by critics now had awards rolling in.
Your developed star 2019, No Man's Sky, Sean Murray.
No Man's Sky next.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky's next.
No Man's Sky.
And to cap it all off, the subreddit No Man's Sky the Game even got together and pooled money for a GoFundMe to have a billboard installed near the Hello Games offices.
God damn.
It must have been a harrowing moment for Sean and the team. They took a huge risk to start a small studio.
If your base gather money and creates a fucking billboard where your office is, just to say thank you Hello Games, that's just next level shit, right?
Clawed their way up to create one of the most notable games of the console generation. Disappointed pretty much everyone with the release, and took one of the biggest online beatings in video game history.
Seriously.
As a family, post-release, we faced some really difficult challenges. Everything that you can imagine from like the worst of the internet, we hit.
But then over the course of the next 3 years, completely turned it around and came out the other side with a win. It's the underdog story. And after doing all of this research, I couldn't help but come to the conclusion that they were the good guys.
Yeah, they were.
So what is the future for Hello Games? In 2017, they announced Hello Labs, a support program focused on original titles and games using procedural generation. Two of the team also branched off to work on a small title called The Last Campfire. But for the foreseeable future, they're just working on No Man's Sky.
No, they didn't announce it around this time, but after a year.
Alright, I didn't want to finish the video on like a big sappy note. So, this is the end of the story, but there's still another few minutes. Don't leave, it's not an ad. Okay, in 2015, when the hype was at its peak, someone wrote a Sean Murray erotic fanfiction. And, naturally, I assumed that you lot would want to see it. So, here it is. My evening interview at Hello Games. I arrived at the Hello Games office in the early evening as the sun was approaching the horizon. Taking a deep breath, I nervously pressed the doorbell. The door opened, and Sean poked his expressive face out to greet me. "Hey you," he exclaimed in his adorable British-Australian accent. "I'm so happy you could make it and spend the evening with us." "I was so happy when I heard you agreed to let me come in for an interview," I said. "Oh yeah, the interview. I forgot," he replied with his usual brilliant humor. I laughed. "You're so funny, Sean. Let me show you my office." "I have a surprise for you," Sean said. He led me to the room where we sat down on a soft vinyl couch. "So let me show you the surprise," he said, softly. "It's the newest build of the game. We just added some new features." He booted up the game on a PS4 in his office. I stared at his face. I like...
This feels more like #MeToo than erotic fiction forward.
"Your beard. It's sexy," I pretended to say to him in my head to myself. I had a secret crush on him. There was something about his humble demeanor and feeble yet handsome bone structure that was so alluring. "So here's the game," he said eagerly. It opened on an alien world just calling out to be explored. I began to sweat. Here it finally was, in front of me in all of its glory, and it was being played by Sean in front of me in all of his glory. I nervously spoke. "Could I try playing?" I said. "Oh, I suppose, of course," he said, chuckling. But another few minutes passed without him handing me the controls. "Sean," I said more confidently. I put my hands on his hands as he gripped the controller. He looked me straight in the eyes. I stared deep into his beautiful, glistening eyes, utterly transfixed. "Sure," he said. He let go of the PlayStation controller, still sweaty from his firm grip.
Oh god, that sound.
But I have...
See, I think what happened here is Internet Stone realized that what video he made here was more like, I guess, redeeming a guy who he's featuring in this video. This video is about Sean Murray and No Man's Sky. But this video came out as, I guess, redeeming feature for Sean Murray. Internet Stone like, that can't be right. So I have to finish with something, something like this, basically. Something that I had sound effect which is kind of gross, right? Something that feels weird, right? Because that's what Internet Historian channel is all about. So that's why he started doing this shit.
I have another surprise to show you. He stood up. Mike.
Redacted.
He muttered. Yes, please, I said, blushing as red as the treetops of Aurea 5. He grabbed my shoulders, guiding me confidently towards the coffee table, like he confidently guides the Hello Games team towards the game's release. The one true Sean Murray, not that baby-faced loser asshole poser from NCIS. Made sweet love to
the guy from NCIS like, what the fuck? Where'd that come from?
me. I wasn't sure what I was more excited about. Finally.
Redacted.
Sean Murray, all finally playing No Man's Sky. After exploring the planet's surface, I entered my spaceship and took off. Just as I left the atmosphere and burst into the breathtaking expanse of space.
Redacted.
It was an out-of-world experience. Oculus Rift support, he uttered sensually. As I turned, I saw Sean's avatar standing before me in a beautiful, procedurally generated spacesuit. Like what you see, he said. It's time, everybody, he shouted. I heard footsteps slowly enter from the cramped office. I soon saw many spacesuits appear before me in-game. But as they took off their helmets, I realized that they were all the same Sean Murray avatar. I was about to be
redacted
by a group of Sean Murrays.
For fuck's sake.
But they all had one difference. The peak.
Redacted.
Each peak
Redacted.
was different. There were wide ones, thin ones, long ones, curved ones. It was magical. As the Hello Games team began to...
Redacted.
From somewhere in the room, I heard Sean whisper, every...
Redacted.
Procedural.
Oh, that was funny.
Also, I did a thing on the second channel. Please do check it out. I thought it was quite good. I love the videos on the second channel. There's some erotic fan fiction over there, so why not check it out? And that's it.
So there we go. I don't even know what the fuck this last thing was. Some story, just Internet student thought, fuck it, let's put it inside the video, right? I'm glad Sean Murray didn't see this one. Otherwise, he would have cancelled the entire Hello Games. So, yeah. And as far as the game goes, right? Sean Murray is just right. He's just moving forward. The developers that I trust, Sean Murray might be in this category. I never blind trust anyone, not even Bethesda Game Studios, after playing, I don't know, 15 years of great games from them, right? I won't blindly trust them either. But, Sean Murray feels like his mind is at the right path, I guess. Because he could have chosen lots of cop-out, paths at that point. But he didn't. He strategically chose to, patch up the game, which is good. Because otherwise nobody would have bought any game from you in the future. What's the point of you being developer? So it's not just him being good, it's strategic to patch up the game. But after that, he just patched and patched and patched, even beyond what he should have done. Which just shows you that he cares about the community making games, right? He doesn't only care about making money. He made millions, right? Which is more than he ever made anywhere. So he's like, fuck that, this is more than enough. With this money, I can patch this game over and over again for a long time. Which is not most people, go with that path, I guess. Most people just say, look at that, how much money I made. I passed the game good enough. Let's make another one so I can make more millions. He didn't think like that. So that's good. Alright, people, that was the Engoodening of No Man's Sky by the channel Internet Historian. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more, I guess. Comment down if you want me to react to a specific video. And yeah, I'll see you next time.